generally, investments have been one of the areas hardest hit by the pandemic and financial services cleanup also. Today, here at Tessa Capital, we're looking at our investment dialogue. Where should you be putting your money in these times? And in fact, if you're also looking for investment into your business, exactly where you should be going to. We have one of Ghana's seasoned, I must say, one of the most celebrated economists, and also who has a vast knowledge in investment and of course investment opportunities and what he thinks generally about Ghana's economy. My name is Odile Ntiamwa. I'll be moderating the event, and of course we are live on Joy and also on Tessa Capital's social media platforms. Well, we'll just go straight to activities, and we will start off with a welcome address from the MD of Tessa Capital, Eugenia Bashir.
Thank you, Odilia. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Tessa Capital Investment Dialogue. Thank you for joining us on Zoom, Facebook, YouTube, and also live on Joy 99.7 FM. I'm happy you have joined us. For those of us joining us for the first time, you're welcome. Those who were with us the last time, thank you for joining again. We believe that this is going to be a very instructive conversation. This is the second in the Tessa Capital Investment Dialogue series. This edition is particularly exciting and important to us because it is at a time where we're celebrating our 11th anniversary. Tessa was incorporated 11 years ago, and for those years, we've been working with our clients to achieve their investment objectives and to grow their wealth. Our 11-year journey has been full of successes, including having the privilege to work with some of the best corporate trustees in the country, and also in managing funds for various institutions, groups, individuals, and associations, and also in growing their wealth. The experiences of the past 11 years challenge us to dream. And so we look forward to a future where investors are empowered with the knowledge to make the right investment decisions or to seek the right help to be able to make investment decisions. A future where the investment process is simplified such that the ordinary investor can invest at the click of a button. A future where clients can trust that we would deal with them transparently and so their funds are safe. A future where we'll work together with our clients to grow their wealth. But importantly, a future where regulatory supervision, technology, innovation, and knowledge converge to benefit the investor by creating an environment where everyone has reason to invest, where there'll be no tangible reason for sitting on the fence and not investing. I started saving at a young age when I kept coins in a milk tin, an empty milk tin, or in a wooden money box. But I did not learn about investing till after I had finished university. I wish I had learned about investing earlier. I wish my parents had opened an investment account for me when I was a baby. I wish I had started investing immediately I started earning an income. But that was not the case. Your story can be different. Your investment story does not have to be the same as my own. You can also change the investment story for your children. We often read investment tips and quotes from the Warren Buffett of this world. There's a wealth of knowledge we can acquire from our own indigenous investment gurus. So today, we bring you the renowned economist and investor, Mr. Kwame Pianim, We are grateful to Mr. Pianim for agreeing to share his wealth of investment experience with us today. I have had the privilege of learning a lot under my feet on investing and also on managing and investing other people's funds. One of the valuable lessons which stuck with me is that client funds are sacred. Client funds are not part of operational funds. You cannot use client funds for any other purpose other than to invest it on the behalf of clients. This lesson has stayed with me, and I am glad I have lived it. I believe it is one of the most vital lessons we need to learn as an industry going forward. I believe there's a lot more to learn from Mr. Kwame Pianim, so I'm not going to preempt him. But then what happens after you have listened to Mr. Pianim? What will you do with the knowledge you acquire today? I came across a quote a few days ago by somebody called Abubakar. I don't know who he is, but he said, without knowledge, action is useless, and knowledge without action is futile. So if you try to take investment decisions without appropriate knowledge, you may make mistakes. So we are giving you the knowledge, but after that, what action are you going to take? So as you acquire knowledge from the TESA Investment Dialogue series, we expect that you will take action and take a step today to begin to invest. We encourage you to contact the TESA Capital Investment team. Our investment advisors are on standby, and they will help you to start your investment journey today. Thank you once again for joining us. Thank you so much.
We have come to the meat of today's gathering, and we're looking at issues relating to investing in Ghana. Mr. Kwame Pianim's journey and indeed lessons. Mr. Kwame Pianim has worked with the United Nations. He's currently the CEO of New World Renaissance Securities. He's also worked with the Ministry of Finance before, and in fact, he has consistently advised different governments, either through various comments that he's made in this country relating to various aspects of the economy. Today, he will be sharing his journey with us. Please, let's welcome him.
Thank you very much. Let me first of all begin by congratulating Eugenia and the TESA Capital Group for this innovative and laudable idea of an investment dialogue. I'm hoping that some of the institutions, such as Bank of Ghana, Bankers Association, and others, and the accountancy groups will start a series of educating people on financial literacy, because it is very, very important. My topic is investing in Ghana, my journey and lessons. This is not about the capital market, but the day-to-day activities of individuals and groups putting together money, their own, or what we call OPM, other people's monies, into financial schemes, shares, properties, or commercial investments, commercial ventures, with the expectation of making a profit. This is what you find if you look into the dictionary for what investing is. Of course, we will not be talking about physical investment, which sometimes is very important when villagers, through community activity, live leisure and then build a road. That's physical investment, and it was very critical in the early years of Ghana. Our goal today, this is not a how to do it chat. We make no claim to being success at investing, but hopefully our involvement in things big and small in all manner of investment activities may help identify obstacles and ideas for easing the constraints that militate against our investors. Investing is a cradle and incubator for unleashing the entrepreneurial talents of our nation. And all of us must decide and agree that investors, our entrepreneurs, are our national asset, and we must learn to nurture and protect them as a nation. The area of focus today is on Ghana, this beautiful, peaceful, and amazing country with abundant resources, both human and material, and opportunities. With all its imperfections, the relative peace we enjoy in this nation is the envy of many. Unfortunately, not unlike the proverbial frog, whose length is not fully in evidence until it is dead, peace and freedom are better appreciated when they are not there, in their absence. Touch wood that Ghana continues as our good old Ghana, and armed with hope as our safest weapon, or better still, we can move forward and master critical mass and rise to our full potential as a nation. Our journey and lessons. The investment landscape in Ghana can be exhilarating and fulfilling, as well as very stressful. An unstable macroeconomic environment is our Achilles heel. It demands running fast to stand one's ground. We trust some of the takeaways and lessons gleaned from our journey will help new investors keep their heads above water as they navigate through big and small transactions, and even as angel investors. What we need to keep in mind: the 18th century French revolutionary Georges-Jacques Danton said, "Success is a child of courage." In français, le succès fut toujours l'enfant de l'audace. And the 20th century British conservative politician and statesman Winston Churchill put it this way, and I quote, "Success is not final. Failure is not fatal. What counts is the courage to continue." Ghanaians are born optimists. I think those who were not optimists died out a long time ago. We all start with big dreams when we start life, or we come from abroad, or we are getting into business, to build subways in our metropolis. But watch out. The system and the environment may wrestle us to the ground, as it has done many warriors, leaving us bereft of energy and the will to dare to dream. But continue we must. Others have succeeded largely because nobody told them that their dreams were impossible. Beware of the macroeconomic thief. My first investment goal was to own my own house by the age of 45. So I invested in a 10-year life policy to earn 100,000 cedis for our dream house. And those 100,000 cedis would buy you 2 dream houses. I got 100,000 cedis all right after 10 years, but the exchange rate has moved from 1 to 1, 1 cedi to $1, to 350 cedis to $1. So as my friend Yasaf Mafo used to remind us, we all eat macroeconomics. Mercifully, the macroeconomic rascal operates as a double-edged sword. If your debts are cedi denominated and not adjusted for inflation and or depreciation, it may put a bit of wind in your sail. If you are borrowing cedis for a dollar earning business, you are okay and you'll be doing very well. I had a rent towards sale arrangement. These days you don't see it. As you are renting a house and you are paying your rent, it goes towards payment for the house. And of course, that was what gave me my house at age 45, before age 45. So borrowing cedis to do a dollar business is probably one of the best ideas when the macro environment is not stable. The importance of being there. Lessons that are easily forgotten. Out of curiosity, as a young civil servant, I invested in Trotro, emotionally very satisfying. And seeing our 3 buses, I called them after my son. There was a Nicholas bus, Nana bus, and Elkin bus, driving around as I drove home. Very satisfying. But sustainability for such direct investments for an individual is dicey. It's dependent on the integrity of the operators and, unfortunately, reliable the operators were not. Investment is a calculated risk business. Do not invest from your heart. I got involved in sea fishing out of the misery of a fisherman trained in Russia. He had been arrested in one of the many military takeovers, and the wife came to see me in Tema. I told a colleague of mine who was in charge, please investigate it quickly. They did it. He had done nothing wrong. He was released. I said, what do you do? He said, I'm a fisherman, trained in Russia. Oh, okay. I got 2 friends together. We bought a boat, and I still remember it. One of the Tema boatyard boats, TM82. He was doing very well. He goes to sea with light, and the light goes into the sea water. It's like plankton. The fish come out. We were doing extremely well. Of course, he got rich, he got arrogant, and then stopped going to the sea, left it to the fisher folks. We're still doing well because the fisher folks are suspicious. They will not steal from you. They have suspicion that if they steal from you, they'll be drowned. We're doing well. We got cocky. We then hired a manager in between us and the fishermen. And of course, after a couple of years, that man, the middleman, owned a car, owned a hardware store, and me and my friends were broke. With savings and limited time and financial management skills, you need financial services. People who are professionals and who will invest for you. Well-researched, and you give them the mandate, they will do your investment for you. This is what TESA is about. Decades ago, households used to keep funds in low-interest savings deposits, or worse, on current account. Now people are dealing in money market instruments, government bonds, and private placements. How do we avoid dodgy institutions whom we entrust these funds to? Check the competence and moral integrity of those in charge. But that's not enough. Those also at the bottom, the workers, need to be people and persons of integrity. Success is only the top of an iceberg of many attempts and or failures, even though we celebrate the success and we don't celebrate the failures from which we learn. For most of us, collective investments schemes through monthly put-aside funds are probably the answer to our limited capacity for vetting fund managers and institutions. We pool our resources together, and that gives us strength. Such schemes, however, take years to put together. They require patience and teamwork, and a very enlightened and selfless leadership of the group. Our experience with setting up the Teachers Fund, it took us about 5 years, and it was not only them. We had been to other unions over 4 or 5 years. It didn't work. So you need leadership, selfless leadership on the side of the team that are putting it together. A good investment idea requires fertile ground and caring to germinate and then flourish. Scarcity of capital, of equity capital, undermines development and growth of indigenous private sector in Ghana. A major constraint on putting together business in Ghana is scarcity of capital. Trying to establish a Ghanaian bank, we put together, got a banking license, wanted Ghanaian to keep 70%, while we give 30% to a technical manager who will bring in technology management to minimize the execution risk. But we couldn't raise enough money, so we ended up giving 70%, almost 80% of what now has become UBA to the Nigerian partners. Critical mass of investors is difficult to arrange, bringing Ghanaians together to pool their resources together. But the Nigerian banks we brought in changed or transformed the banking environment. They brought technology. They revolutionized the banking in Ghana, brought in competition, customer care, and ICT. So now when you get alarms alerting you to deposits in your bank account, that's what we brought. And depositless, zero deposit to open a bank account. Say, open it. Don't put in any money. One day you get money and put it in. The Ghanaian worker, both in the private sector and in the public sector and the civil service. The Ghanaian entrepreneur, if he is to make serious strides, the work habits and attitudes of our workers must improve significantly. Of course, it also goes aside with us, the owners of businesses. When we spend the money in shiny cars and ostentatiously, of course, it doesn't give good example to the workers to be prudent. Poor work attitude and lack of respect for equipment and private property results in shoddy work and damage to expensive machinery, and thus make it difficult for us to accumulate capital in the private sector. Not everyone wants to be boss or employer. This is a lesson I learned as I was trying to restructure a big company to reduce the staff by about 300. We decided, instead of sending the people home, to say those who were catering for the company, we'll put you into a catering company, and you cater first for the company and look for other clients. Those who are doing security, we put them together and say, okay, you provide security for this company and for other companies also. And then the assets that the company had, we give it to them. Their redundancy payments were paid were paid to the companies as their working capital, and then they became the shareholders. And I was surprised because I thought it was a brilliant idea. But one of the young ladies we wanted to be the key architect, the key player in the catering business, walked out to me one day and said, Mr. Pianim, I don't want to be self-employed. I love being an employee. When I live here, I leave all the headaches and the stomach aches to you, and I go home to my family in peace and come back the next morning. So be warned, not everybody wants to be an entrepreneur or an employer. They are happy with what they want to do and help them also to do what they want to do. Angel investors, the joys and disappointments of trying to give back. Someone, somewhere, might have given you a break. We all owe whatever we are in life to somebody giving us a break by helping us at a critical time. And we always want to give back. When I was starting my consultancy, I left my work. I needed a car and a few equipment, and the banks were tossing me around, and I couldn't borrow enough from friends. And the late Ben Solomon, who was deputy manager at the Ghana Commercial Bank, said, Kwame, what do you need? I said, I need a car and this and that. Where's your account? I said, in Tema. He said, just write a check and pay for them, and then pay gradually. And then another gentleman, Engineer Apalu, whom I have been doing work for, Ghana Export Company, free because I was with the AGI, said, okay, we'll give you a retainer. I mean, those days, 2,000 cedis retainer a year seems laughable now, but that was critical. It saved me, and that's how I launched. So we also look to how can we help young people who may have startups, but they need equity. And that's what angel investment is about. I've done a few, about 50 of them. One of them, 100,000 in a tablet form, which was a brilliant idea. Put all the textbooks on a tablet, like an iPad, and the students can take it. And so we went to the Ministry of Education with them and so forth. 100,000. I did with Frank Edu. He had it all written down and so forth. It's gone. I did a lot, over 50. One jeweler who had just finished doing jewelry at K University came to me. He wanted a job. I said, but what did you study? I said, why don't you work for yourself? Brilliant. I said, do a feasibility study. She presented me with one. I said, okay, give her the money, go and work. She's the only one, after 1 year, she came by and said, Mr. Pianim, I can't do it. I'm going to go back to school and go and teach. I said, why? She said, my gold is the working capital. I'm working with my brother, and he steals my gold. So I'm always going and coming backwards. But a lot of them, somebody who got money for cell phones. And I've seen in Johannesburg, somebody sit under an umbrella, people go there, make calls and pay. And he said, help me. I gave him the money, and nothing happened. The next time I heard from him, he was inviting me to his wedding. And I said, I'm not a fool, I'm not coming to your wedding. But you do a whole lot of these things in order to be able to help others. And I hope that we continue to do it to help people, even if they don't bring us too much joy. Towards improving the investment environment. New entrepreneurs are increasingly women and the young in fintech space, ICT space. They go into these businesses out of necessity, not because opportunities are there to make a living. Now, can we organize basic financial literacy training for these women and young people, including ability to read and understand simple balance sheets and financial statements, so that when they are working, they know whether they are consuming their capital or they are increasing their wealth. As I said at the beginning, I hope somebody in the banking service sector, accounting space, will emulate this laudable initiative of TESA Capital and start a financial literacy training for our women in the markets, the young women in fintech, and other businesses. What about a go-to incubator for help for these small people in negotiating and practical governance support? What about just advisory services to help people who want to invest with fund managers as to what to do, what to look for? Regulators of the financial services industry, such as Bank of Ghana and Securities and Exchange Commission, can help the investing public by making it mandatory that major on-site inspection findings concerning ongoing concern, whether a business is a going concern, governance and liquidity concerns, whether they are able to meet their payment obligations. These get published alongside their annual reports that they have to put in the press. This will warn the public and raise red flags to potential risks ahead for the public in investing their funds with these fund managers. Investing is becoming risky and complex, and therefore you need fund managers, and the public have to be protected. Working in investment arena is exasperating, stressful, but very fulfilling. Investing is transforming ideas and dreams into tangible assets and providing opportunities for others. When you are blessed with success, the employment, look at this building, somebody's dream is providing jobs for people. As investor and investment advisor, to walk around and see structures you have had a small part in bringing into being is very fulfilling, even if the actualization process was frustrating and stressful. When I see Springtest Road, I'm reminded of the struggle we went through with Farid Millet to set it up. It was a dream that cotton would be produced in Ghana, ginned and spun into threads, and then made into the army cloth, the military uniforms, the police uniforms, and then Ghana would have had a thriving textile industry. The dream didn't fully materialize for the country, but when I see Spinters Road where there was nothing, now it's Spinters Road, I feel proud that Millet had me be a small part of that. When I see the teachers fund and not heights, I'm encouraged that the stress we went through helping the teachers put it together, and they are very enlightened leadership. I was very impressed when the Secretary General told me, I don't mind how much you pay the fund administrators, and the people who are watching are investors. 3 times, 4 times mine, I don't mind, as long as it succeeds. It takes an enlightened leader to be able to say that. When I see UBA, Bayport Financial Services, it's fulfilling. When I see SNIT, as a young economist, at about 3 a.m. in my dining room, I came up with the idea, SNIT, SSNIT, the name, because the group J.H. Mensah had put together wanted it to be a takeaway. We're saying, how do we improve investment in Ghana? Savings rate. The savings rate was low. We said, okay, you can take it from workers at source. It's no different from the SUSU system. It's no different from what we use for the teachers' fund. And now SNIT is the biggest investment fund. Thanks to the foresight of J.H. Mensah, Mr. Adibo, who was then with SIC, State Insurance Corporation then, and Mr. Anthony Kobner-Wood, who joined us together to set up SNIT. So when you've been involved in these things, small, big, it's very satisfying when you walk around and see those edifices, which through investment brought people's dreams into reality. Those of you lucky enough to be in the financial services industry should regard your work as a sacred trust, almost like medical doctors. You are entrusted with other people's money, representing their sweat for years, sweat of hard work, sleeplessness. Take good care, better care than you do take of your own resources. Investing for and guiding others to invest is a specialized area better left to experts. But these experts should be men and women of competence and of high moral integrity. I was very pleased with Eugenia's introductory speech when she mentioned this idea of integrity and responsibility to the customers. It's not only the leadership that is important, the workers are also important. I remember, to our horror, at New World Resources, when we found out that one of our people dealing with customers, when you write a check to be paid to the customer for their investments that are matured, he will go and meet the investors at the lift and send them away because he has stolen the money. We didn't realize that this nice guy who had been introduced to us to hire by a very Christian lady had a habit, a drug habit. So it is important that we check through the workers also to make sure that they are properly trained to say that the people's assets you are taking care of is a sacred duty, is their lifeblood. I would like to end with a challenge. We put a teachers' fund together, 250 people, each putting aside in those days less than 10 US cents. 250,000, even if you put aside 1 CD a month, that's 250,000 Ghana cedis is something. It's now grown into a big fund. But for the macroeconomic instability, the teachers' fund will be about $2 billion worth. Can you imagine that? Ready for investment. Ghana is a small market, and therefore we should look beyond Ghana, ECOWAS, and with the African Continental Free Trade Area, we should look even bigger into Africa and global. So we should always think externally. Who will dare attempt to put together the transformational miracle of a teachers' fund for the estimated 450 million workers of Africa. 450 million people. At $2 a month per worker will yield $10.8 billion a year. The workers in Africa, their funds properly managed, can own some of our natural resources, the oil companies, the fertilizer companies, and all those things. Think about it. This is a challenge I leave to you, the young investors and the management of funds who are coming. In conclusion, I say thank you for this dialogue. I wish you well. I hope you continue. And I hope others will also continue in your steps by trying to train people in basic financial literacy skills to help our young women and men who are going into business to succeed. May TESA be one of the new generation of investment houses we can entrust our savings to and rest secure and assured that our money is safe and growing. I remember a gentleman who used to boast around Ghana about being a billionaire, and he was brought to Ghana International School to talk to the young people. So one of the young girls said, "Mr. So-and-so, how rich are you?" And he said, "I don't really know." I said, "Why not?" He said, "You see, my money is on call, on savings, on placement, and as I'm sleeping, it's earning money. So I can never count." Our expectation of the operators in the investment sector is that they be professionally competent and of high moral integrity. Thank you.
We will straight away go into the discussion, and then we'll be waiting for your questions via SMS or via Zoom, Facebook, and any avenue that you can get your questions through. We will be glad and we will read them out. But my very first question, I mean, if you're done, my very first question is that we cannot really invest a lot into businesses if we currently see that the health of our own economy is not in a good state. I remember in January you had granted an interview and stated that we should be looking at a deficit of about 8%. Well, Fitch says it's going to end, 2021 is going to end at 8.3%. And also the fact that we should spend in the productive side. But currently, our debt to GDP is projected at 81%. It just doesn't look good when you're talking about the general economy. How do we invest in an economy like this?
I think that most of us get it wrong. The situation we are in now, this COVID situation, the first priority is to keep human beings alive. If you have to spend to keep them alive, what you should be doing is keeping people alive, but making sure that the economy does not slip too far away. So you start investing in areas that are going to increase productivity, keep people healthy, but watching what areas. I mean, it's a crisis makes people think, what have we been doing wrong? What have we been giving away freely? For example, some of the monies we gave away for electricity, for water, I think it was misdirected. That was the opportunity to go into the countryside, dig a lot of boreholes, make sure that people's waters were safe, because basically it's washing your hands that is important.
Yeah.
Most of the outpatients you go to, it's diarrhea and food-related unhygienic habits that take people there. So to have water to wash your hands is critical. And giving water away in the urban areas when the bulk of our people are in the rural areas doesn't help. Electricity, we are not even paying for it to the producers. We owe them a lot of money. So that's not a thing to give away. So you see, what can I give away that will help all of us? And to me, if our debt to GDP were to be 90%, and some of it is going to create productive assets that will lead to investments, that would be fantastic. A lot of our young people are now in fintech. They are coming up with apps. If the government would take some of these apps and use them themselves, it would be fantastic. I think Bryce Simmons came up a long time ago with this idea of
pedigree.
Put it on. If the Ghana government has supported them aggressively, can you imagine the whole world, everybody using that app? It will probably be bringing into Ghana more than gold and cocoa are bringing us. So I think it's identifying the areas that you need to focus in to keep well and move. You know, so this idea of being tied to their GDP ratio and so forth, it is important. It shows that things need to be watched, but watch them properly. I think the document that the Ghana government brought out, Ghana Cares, you know, fantastic program, you know, and I was saying the monies that we needed to raise locally. I was talking about
30 billion
fiscal investment. If every district, if our districts were empowered, you know, and I always feel sad when I see that, you know, the president wanted us to empower the local district assemblies, make them elected, make them powerful, and we rejected it. If they were powerful there, and they were saying, everybody in my district, give me 2 days, 2 Mondays of work. Those of us who cannot go and dig the gutters or the roads, we pay how much a day? 100, 200 cedis were to do that. You know, be raising maybe $1 billion, $2 billion for fiscal investment and for cleaning our environment. So focus on what is important, leave the financial side to the experts, and let's hope and pray that they are doing what is right.
One of the critical areas of investment is also the MSME sector, because they actually form almost 80% of, you know, the whole economy. But the critical thing that they really lack is access to finance. And in these COVID times, the expectation was that they will have all the concentration. Well, the cap bars was introduced, and some of them got these capital injections. There were other things that government also did as the phase 1 of the Ghana Cares program. Would you say that this has set the tone for us to start investing, and of course that we have some level of stability now to really look forward?
Yeah, I think so. Look, for the small micro area space, I think it's probably unrealistic to say that you can get money from the bank or from governments. You know, in the olden days, if I go back to my mother's generation, there were about 5, 7 women together. They all agree at the end of the month, everybody will put in £1 or maybe 10 cedis into the pot, and one of them takes it. That's your capital. And every month, a pot is given to one of them. You know, self-help. That's how the Susu was born. But now Susu become a takeaway to go and invest it, and it goes into treasury bills. It should be collected and shared among the people who are putting it in as their capital. And one of the things that government can do, if we get to the local level, is that schools, the furniture, the doors, the local carpenters, instead of buying them from Accra to supply my village, the local carpenter is given the work to do. The local masons are the ones who are given the contract, not a contract given in Accra, but when you go to the local level and you're empowering people, that's how you do it. So they get work there. And the young people, once they are getting work where they were born and live, then they work and live there. Instead of coming to Accra, Kumasi, Tamale, Sekendik, Takrade, to overburden the limited, already extended social infrastructure that we have. So going a little bit back, and government purchasing power. Government does a lot of purchasing. If we're to use that purchasing at the local level to buy from the farmers who are producing, instead of coming to Accra to buy to ship it back, you know, I think a little bit of innovation, ingenuity will help these people. All they need is somebody to buy something from them at a local level, to put a little money into their pockets for them to be able to survive.
During your delivery, you spoke about your association with UBA as a bank, and it brought my mind to we as a country setting different banks up, special purpose banks. So an agric bank, we currently have a development bank, which is expected to be part of the Ghana Cares program to give funding, especially to MSMEs and for development. Is this necessary? Is this a path to go to really solve some of the problems which are in the space?
You know, the setting up a development bank does not solve it. We've been there before. Agri Development Bank was a specialized bank, NIB for industry. But we found out that when you have a development bank, because they didn't have a commercial banking wing, you give a loan to me, I have a Ghana Commercial Bank as my bank. That's where my cash flow is flowing. So the development banks were not keeping an eye to get their monies paid back. That's why Dr. Paul Akwa, when he came up with these universal banks. So it can be both a bank, commercial bank, but you can focus your investment on agriculture, or you can focus on manufacturing or mining. So that's that. So the development bank that we are setting up is going to give their monies to the banks, their wholesale, to Ghana Commercial Bank, Agri Development Bank, yes. These banks. If these banks do not find a way, you know, the mechanism, the transmission mechanism of getting monies to their customers and being able to collect the monies from their customers, then we are in trouble. And this is why, you know, a bank, people think owning a bank is going to make money. No. A bank will make money if they have competent people operating and their moral integrity. They are not going to give a loan to themselves or to their relatives and then say, let's write it off. So you need people, that's why I said, I know, banking, financial service is a sacred trust. And you are there knowing that every city that is there, somebody sweat. When you look at it that way, that the Macaulay woman, this is her sweat that you are taking care of. Then the transmission mechanism from the big banks, retail, you give it to the commercial banks, Ghana Commercial, NIB. Are they restructured enough to be able to give loans and get them back? And it means somebody comes for a loan. You don't wait 1 year, 2 years before you are processing it. They would have forgotten what they even needed the loan for. So, and also being able to monitor, having friendly relations with your customers. I remember UBA, when we had non-performing loans of about 12-13%. We sat down there, what is wrong? Then the bankers were told, be close to your the people who loan money to. Find out what is their problem. Sometimes the problem can be solved with more cash. Maybe they need management, maybe they need better raw materials, but you talk to them and say, what is going wrong? But when people have a problem, they are scared to talk to their banks. But be close to them, and we quickly reduce non-performing loans to about less than 1%. So the relationship with your customers, the transmission mechanism is important. How do you monitor the transmission mechanism of the loan to the end destination and how it comes back.
The financial sector cleanup cost us about more than 19 billion to deal with. There's general apathy when it comes to investing now because people are simply not sure where they are going to invest their monies and whether their investments are safe. How do we bring the confidence back?
It will take some time to bring confidence back. I remember as a young economist, we're trying to get people to save, put their monies in the banks. And I remember an incident at Ghana Commercial Bank where this farmer had come, he had his money wrapped up in paper, gave it to the girl at the teller machine. The girl counted it, put the thing and put the money on the side, okay? And then, of course, somebody was taking the money to go and put it in the till so that they can distribute. The man said, hey, Mr. I don't know. That's my money. The guy said, yeah, it's fine. Then they are still taking. I said, hey, he just reached into, I haven't gone, you are sharing my, just reached into the till, took his money, wrapped it up, and left. So confidence, it takes a long time to build, and we should never lose it. I think that the regulators, Bank of Ghana, sort of took their eye off the ball. The inspection should have shown that some of the banks, even banking supervision department should have shown some of those banks should not even have been given a banking license. Banking is a field where only people of a certain, you are not given a banking license because you have money. You are given a banking license because you are a person of a certain standing. And that's the only issue where you can't take the governor of the central bank to court if he says, I'm not giving you a banking license because I don't think you are a person to be trusted with other people's money. You can't take him to court. It's a personal decision. And I think we took our eye off the ball. People came in just to mobilize monies to finance themselves and their entities. They were no different from somebody who put a mask on their head to go and rob the till. So regulation means going in, finding out earlier that things are going wrong and then correcting it. Just withdrawing licenses is not the first step. It should be the very last, and people should have been given warning. That's why I was proposing that when they do the on-site inspection and there are issues of going concern, that there are issues of the banks not or institution not being able to make payment. The financial services where old people from the university put their monies and they say they are not getting the money back. These people's earnings, they are not people who've stolen monies. So immediately, this money should have been paid back. I have no problem with the government paying it back. But I think that as we did the first time around, that their assets should have been taken, put into a bank clean up asset trust so that as the assets are sold, then the government is repaid for the monies they spent. But because we didn't link the assets of these banks to the fact that the government is paying for them, people can still go around and say that it's for political reasons that their banks are being destroyed, But I think that going forward, current, ongoing inspection, and then the regulators being on the ball and keeping their eyes on the ball.
But it's obvious that the regulators do not have the huge numbers. SEC and, of course, the Bank of Ghana may not necessarily have all the staff to be able to do excellent work. For example, in the Securities and Exchange Commission, for example, for about 5 years, may have visited an institution once or twice. Is that enough to raise the red flag before anything happens?
I think with ICT revolution apps, you can do a lot. These institutions provide financial statements which can be looked at very carefully. When there are stresses, the stresses become very obvious. It's Bank of Ghana on-site inspection, but even that is risk-based, you know, so that the banks that are doing well, you don't visit them physically too often. It's the ones that are marginal that you pay more attention to. But I think that, look at the money that we spend on the cleanup. There are a lot of accountants who are going unemployed. Wouldn't it have been better to have spent the money employing them if shortage of staff was a problem than waiting to get into the ditch before we pull the truck out of the gutter?
Less than 15% of all bank loans actually go into long-term investments for different businesses. What should we be looking at as a country, and of course as different businesses, in providing long-term funding, because most startups, most MSMEs actually need more than a year to actually turn monies around to make profits?
You see, the commercial banks, that's the difference between commercial banks and development banks. Commercial banks, what is there is your current account and my current account, okay? So commercial banks have short term. They cannot lend long. I'm very passionate about insurance companies. Insurance is where your long-term funds are. And in Ghana, what we've been doing is that we have not paid attention to developing indigenous savings institutions. And also we are not implementing our savings, our insurance rules. If you start a building, you are supposed to insure it. All these big churches that people are going to, they are supposed to be insured in case somebody falls. Houses are supposed to be insured. And if we're insuring all this, you are putting in a lot of money. And it should not be going to outsiders. You know, if your insurance is being provided largely by external companies, that's your saving, your long-term savings, going to South Africa or going to Europe. So we should encourage indigenous insurance companies who should also be encouraged to be able to reinsurance some of the big things. If you are doing a big structure and then something goes wrong and insurance about 2 million, 3 million has to be paid, it will be difficult for some of our indigenous insurance companies to be able to do that. That's why we need to get them to move together. And that's why I've been encouraging the Teachers Fund to get involved, to be able to mop up a lot of these indigenous insurance companies, to make them big, so that the long-term savings, which is in insurance, can stay. You know, for developed countries, about 6% of GDP is insurance.
And pension sector.
If Ghana will have 6% of GDP, of 6 billion, that's 3.6 billion cedis for investment. Can you imagine that? So we should focus on our financial institutions, how to indigenize them, domesticate them, and then let's help them to build up. Let's make sure that all government buildings, government vehicles are insured, pay the money to the insurance companies so that we grow the long-term savings. When the long-term savings are there, they will look for long-term funding for our company. But we should not continue to think that short-term banks with short-term funds can invest long-term. It is not realistic.
This is a related question from Richard Pouza. He says, as many African countries are facing issues with stability and or confidence, please, what investment opportunities can young investors and entrepreneurs drive from the continental free trade area?
I think that a good thing is investing externally. If they can get into anything that is export related, even if you are farming avocados that you want to sell, anything that you sell, because when the economy, the city is unstable, for the importers, as we import in, you need more cedis, you are losing money. For the exporter, they go to get their $10. Today, they are getting 57 cedis.
Yes.
Tomorrow, when they get their $10, they are getting 60 cedis. So the exporters are laughing all the way home. And that's what we want. We want to hit the importers. Those of us who are addicted to imported items, hit us. Those who are waiting Jeremy shirts and made in Ghana things, they will be laughing. And that's the way that you also use the financial to tweak the incentive system. So a lot of young people will go into ICT apps that will help them to sell things outside, look outside Ghana. The fashion, if you take a look at, say, gold jewelry, tourism, I mean, the black Americans are making a lot of money. You know, the rappers, I may not appreciate rap, but they put on the gold. So let's make the gold nuggets in our traditional thin symbols, the big one. They put it around their necks, they are rapping. And then our young people are also doing,
Ghana too.
They are selling jewelry, Ghana suit, and so forth. Our kente cloth, why do we leave it to the Koreans to print it synthetic and be making handbags? We ourselves should be doing some of those things. So there are a whole lot of things that the young people, through adversity, through necessity, should focus on and move. You know, sports. Sports training used to be very important in Ghana. Training footballers, tennis become very important. There are a lot of good tennis players, but you have to start young and train them. Now, if somebody is playing on Wimbledon, they are making money. So sports is also an area that we should be looking into. It's an export of talent. So the young people, they are ICT savvy, music plays, they can put it on, our culture. People are sitting in America yearning for connection with Africa.
Yeah.
Let's give them the opportunity.
In recent times, I conducted an interview relating to the Ghana alternative market, the fact that is not really yielding the needed expectation and the drive with which the Ghana Stock Exchange came up with the concept. Now, one of the key things I gathered from the people I was interviewing was the fact that it had low education. I mean, basically people didn't really understand what was going on there, and the MSMEs also didn't have the right books and information to benefit from that. From where you sit, what advice can you give, one, to the stock exchange, and two, to businesses that will want to list on the alternative market?
I think that for the stock exchange, for example, the listed companies, some of the investments, for example, the companies like TESA, educating their people who are investing with them, you tell them, look, when you invest in the main exchange, one of the things you get is that you get your dividends, you also get appreciation of capital, okay? So those ones, if you are young, just say that every month I'm going to put aside maybe 5 cedis, 10 cedis, and throw it away in some of these companies. You get advice. I mean, Tesla will be doing research on which of the new things on the stock exchange will work. On the alternative exchange, I think one of the companies I'm involved with, Bayport, was one of the few that raised. We raised about maybe 400 million, 200 million for working capital. You have to put together data. Every month or a couple of months, you do meet the investors, and you have to go with your data sheet and explain what is going on. You know, putting together data is difficult for the small ones. But this is why I'm hoping that the Ghana Stock Exchange or the Alternative Exchange should be able to put together an incubator for getting some of these small firms, educating them, being there. Let's have 4 or 5 accountants to be working there to prepare, help them prepare the books to be able to go there. So it's an overall education of an investor, and especially, as I said, becoming more and more complicated. So you decide how much money are you going to put on the stock exchange, How much are you going to put on government bonds, treasury bills, maybe the ones you want to eat from? Put on T-bills, the interest you put onto your current account, and then you can be spending it for your chop money. But ideally, don't be interested. If anybody comes to you and say, I will give you 50%, 30% interest, it's a dream. Yes. It doesn't work. That's what has led a lot of people astray. But if somebody is giving you 18%, 20%, like the government bonds and treasury bills, and it's going to last, that's good. Make sure that whatever they are telling you to invest in is earning more than the rate of inflation, which sometimes will be 12%, 15%, than the depreciation in the city. So you are keeping your head above water. You don't drown. Yes. But they need a lot of investment dialogue, or what I call financial education dialogue, which I think Bank of Ghana and the others can help educate the public, and especially what I'm more about are the young women who are going into business. They go out of necessity. It's the only way they can make money. And they said that MasterCard Women in Business Entrepreneurship said that in Ghana, I think Rwanda and Kenya, these are the countries, the whole world, yes, we are leading on women as new entrepreneurs. Yeah. And they are going out of necessity. So let's give them a little support by training them in financial literacy so that they can read their balance sheet. And it's not only that, the top two, people who are working as directors for banks, for the government, should, the first initiation, send them through basic balance sheet and financial statement readings.
Yeah. Well, this one doesn't have a name attached to it, but it says, how can entrepreneurs attract and get access to angel investors and or venture capitalists?
It's interesting. When young people come to make a pitch as angel investors, you know whether they thought about it carefully or they haven't thought about it carefully. Let me start at a very basic bottom. An elderly woman, very respectable woman, and she was always hanging around the MPP office there, doing this. So I asked, so what do you do? She said, oh, her business is poor. What was your business? Selling food on the street. I said, so how can you put back your business? Say, sit down with somebody to write for you. The big pot where you cook, the pen you use to serve, the inputs and so forth. It made sense. I read it. It made a lot of sense. I said, okay, here's the money, go and do it. For almost 9 months, I didn't see her around the party office anymore. About 2 years later, she saw me, she started running away. I said, why are you running away?
She spent the money?
They said, the money got spoiled. Because she didn't have basic financial education, literacy. When the money was coming in, she was spending it. Yeah. And before you know, you haven't even eaten just the profits. You are eating into your capital. So for them, what I'll say that, know what you are talking about. When you come to me and I say, okay, how would you value your business? Because I always operated on the Ebusan system. I say, I'm putting money into it, but it's Ebusan. You have the idea, you are going to run it, and the Ebusan system is from the cocoa farms.
Yeah.
You bring a laborer to work on it, he harvests, he shares it, he takes 1/3 and give you 2/3. So I say, okay, this time you take 2/3 of the profit and bring me 1/3. But you have to be able to say, I worked on this project for 2 years. If I took my salary and my associates together, it's about maybe 5,000 Ghana cedis. So if you are giving me 2,000 or say 3,000, that's 3/8 of the business. So that's what I'm giving to you, or just the Abusan. So be able to answer questions. What are the risks that we are facing? Who's your market? How are you able to sell it and be able to retain the money? And for goodness sake, put your sales in the bank. Put it there in the evening when you close, go and collect it. Don't put it in the market. In case there's fire, you lose it. Don't put it under your bed. It will be stolen. If you're a woman and you take it home, you are the one your husband will be looking at to spend on chop money. You won't give any more chop money. So it's important that in attracting somebody to put in some money, they are putting it in because somebody helped them. They also want to help you. But be sure that you talk about the business you are going into as something you know, you've been there, it can work.
Yesterday, I spoke with the Kigali Vice Chancellor, Kigali University Vice Chancellor, and he spoke about the fact that we need to do some serious segmentation of the whole African economy to really benefit from the continental free trade. I found that interesting, the fact that so that we do not have some level of competition, unnecessary competition that will result in businesses just fading away because others are giving cheaper prices than that. Now that we are encouraging everybody to go into AfTA, especially small-scale businesses, what should be the posture of Ghana, one, when it comes to education in relation to investments, financial capacity of the populace, of businesses, and also what should be our posturing in really taking advantage of AfTA?
I think that Ghana, we should take advantage that we are going to dominate the whole system. Financial services, I think we should be there. ICT, I think we should be there. I think it is unfortunate that maybe there isn't somebody somewhere taking a look and say, where can we position ourselves, I think, I understand that, for example, the Facebook or wanted to be able to put their servers here. They had a joint venture with somebody. They applied for a license and they weren't given the license, I think this is short-sighted, It shows that we don't understand that having the service of one of these big giants, I mean, when Twitter opened an office here, we're jubilating. We don't understand the importance of Ghana because of our high literacy rate. If one of these big people put their thing here, it's fantastic. Look, Ireland was getting a whole lot. Maybe when the Irish struggle starts anew. Ghana, we are known for the peace that we enjoy.
Yeah.
You go to Nigeria, Boko Haram, you go to Burkina and all that. So West Africa, we are the oasis of peace, and we should not take it for granted. People want to invest in Nigeria, they are scared, they will come here whilst they are putting their foot small in Nigeria to test the waters. So we should take advantage of it and put in the hubs. If we have a cargo hub in Ghana, like people want to do, you have a cargo hub in Ghana. The Chinese now have an aircraft manufacturing company that is competing with Boeing and Airbus. If we can get them here to train their pilots here, to do their maintenance here, because they want one in West Africa, they want one in East Africa. We may go to Rwanda or Nairobi. The hubs are Johannesburg, Nairobi, Casablanca, Addis Ababa. Ghana needs to become a hub. Where we are located, almost here, when we get the big cargo planes landing here for just-in-time pass for the industries and so forth, then from here, the national airlines, regional airlines can take it to Nigeria, to Addis Ababa, to East Africa and so forth. So our focus should be, how do we become a hub? You take the oil industry, it's located in Takoradi. If we have a hub there, from all the way from Angola, coming through here to Mauritius, to Mauritania, where the new gas fields are, we become the center, repairing the vessels. It's better to have one of these oil cargo planes, platforms being serviced in Ghana than having to go all the way to Gibraltar to be serviced. But we're trying to get the boatyard in Tema to be given to somebody to run. We still haven't been able to do so. It's a matter of focusing. Rwanda, of course, they are very focused. You see, if you have the government planning, it can be excellent, but if there's a disaster, it's also your whole eggs. So I prefer that we leave it to the individuals. We want cars to be manufactured here. How are we going to make sure that the inputs, some inputs are being made here, the tires are being made here, maybe the engine blocks are being made of aluminum, maybe the upholstery inside the cars are being done here. So these are the type of things we have to do to distinguish ourselves, to brand ourselves slightly different from the others, so that those who want to export to the continental African free trade area will use here the base. WHO, make sure that all your pandemic fighting medications warehoused here, they pay us rent, and from here we take it to the other places. So segmentation, command control is good in fighting epidemics, but it can also lead to disaster. So let's compete.
Okay.
What we call co-petition.
Yes.
Let's cooperate as African country, ECOWAS, to build a market, but kill one another like hell to get market share.
Great. So this is from Ibn Arthur, who says, thanks for the continued sharing of knowledge. He says he met you in 2006 and you mentored him briefly. Today, he has helped set up a business incubator and investment fund thanks to the advice and confidence reposed. I would like to know your thoughts on how HNWI in Ghana can be supported to effectively make angel investment and also participate in local venture capital funds.
HNW?
I think that's the name of his company.
Angel investment. The experience with angel investment, I think the pioneers were Frank Edu, formerly of Carbank. He got me involved and we put money together. There was a young lady, Miss Brown, who was coordinating. People came in, they wanted to take oil from what is this plant that grows here in Ghana? It has beans and you extract it. Was an MIT graduate who wanted to do that. There are a whole lot of things that can be done. But I think that what we need, the government set up an entity that was giving loans, grants to investors who were trying. I tried to get one for somebody who was using drones for spraying and so forth. So those are the type of, I think the guy who was running it now is the deputy minister at finance now. He was running it, he's now the deputy minister. So I hope that by his elevation into Minister of Finance, he will make sure that this fund is given resources to be able to support people like that. But I think we have to take a good look at some of these operators in the fintech area, give them support financially, and what is even more important, give them government contracts for them to grow, because that is what will grow, and then they will get contracts in other African countries, and that's how we expand our muscle, just like South Africa and Nigeria have been expanding their financial services into other African countries. This is the way you get hold of some of the dividends and the savings of other countries to support your own economy.
I think what he actually meant was high net worth investors. He would like to know your thoughts on how high net worth investors in Ghana can be supported to effectively make angel investment and also participate in local venture capital funds.
High net worth people are people who have some resources to spare.
Yes.
It's a matter of putting them together as I said, Frank Edu put some of us together, and we all put in money, and then we used to go and listen to them how they are doing. But you need a forum, Mr. Kuma, who is now a deputy minister in the Ministry of Finance, used to run this special fund that I'm talking about. The name just slipped me. But I think that if we put more resources there to help them come up, brush up the ideas, tidy them up, to be able to talk to high net investors. But it's a matter of just calling a few people together for a working breakfast, Zoom call, what is happening, especially in the fintech and ICT space, what is happening. Somebody going into agriculture for exports, for example, who needs a little bit money. Get a few people together and let's put in 100,000 here, 200,000 here. If 10, 20 people put it in, that's fine. If you are able to put it now on the web, there are also Ghanaian, the Ghanaian diaspora. Each one of them may be able to put aside $1,000 a year. And some of them, when they invest, their companies will also invest alongside with them. And if we can get 100,000 Ghanaians in the diaspora to put together $1,000, that's almost like the Marshall Plan for Ghana. That's the way to go. So you should put together a group that will invite people into a Zoom space, into a working breakfast space, to say, these are the brilliant ideas we have, but we are short of money. How much money can you put in? And at 100,000, 100,000, 200,000 here, these high net worth people can be able to put it in, remembering that somebody helped me when I was young, and they also want to help you.
Finally, in the next minute, share with us the Ghana you would like to see, the environment with which people can invest freely and people's businesses can get the opportunities. How will the Ghana that you would like to see at almost 82 or 83, what are your expectations in terms of how you want it to play out?
A peaceful Ghana.
Already peaceful.
A Ghana continuing to be peaceful. We have the fire all around us. We have to make sure that it's peaceful. It means we have to learn to talk to one another, not at one another. We need to be able to, to debate, to discuss vigorously, robustly, but in a civil manner to one another. And then reasonable macroeconomic stability so that people's investment and savings are kept safe and well-to-do. And men and women of competence and integrity. In our political space, more people working for Ghana, working for the community. And above all, a Ghana where the foundation, the local, the bottom is organized. We cannot continue with a Ghana where only the top is organized. I'm looking for a strong local government, district chief executive elected, so that when my gutter is not clean, I won't vote for them again.
That's right.
If we have that Ghana, the press that will be reading is not the concerns about Accra and national politics. It will be at the local level in my village. The water is not clean. Why is the water not clean? Somebody is doing galamsey. Who gave them permission to do galamsey? Stop your galamsey. You have the people, their concerns become uppermost. Water, drinking water, education, primary health, not even big hospitals, but primary health to fight malaria, mosquitoes, and all that. This is the Ghana we need, a Ghana where we all pull together as Ghanaians. A Ghana where it doesn't matter. Somebody called me yesterday and said, oh, I see you are helping a whole lot of people get on some of these companies, but you haven't talked to me. Is it because I'm Ghana? I said, yes, because you are not from Usu, Ashanti. We should forget about our tribal differences. get people of competence. When we are going to war, you don't care whether you are Gan or Ashanti. I care whether you are competent enough to go with me so that we finish the war and I'm safe and alive to come back. So we should get Ghana to pull together. And the way we pull together is by talking to one another so that we understand. And in the public space, in the radio space, please let people talk if they want to talk. Peer review is what is needed so that we move in the right direction. Research in the financial service sector. Let the research come up, let it be aired, and let's move away from the issues of man bite dog, you know. Let's talk about, move away from the ugly noises of politics, as J.B. Darocha said, and concentrate on the things that matter, bread and butter
Issues.
for the average man. Not bread and butter, I think kinky and fish for the average person. So that our people are kinky fresh and fufu fresh,
Yes.
no potato fresh.
Thank you very much. I would like to quickly end with this. This is from Eric Ntrieji, who says, Mr. Pianim is a profound speaker, and I stopped everything to listen to his wisdom. How can government tap into such wisdom without being unnecessarily political? Could NDPC be a super ministry, as in the case of China's NDRC, channeling all these good ideas to fruition? Would you like to say anything?
I would say that, you know, I think we set up the National Development Planning Commission. There was a special council, fiscal council that the president set up. I think these institutions should be used, and they should not be shy about coming up with ideas. The problem in Ghana, I talk to people, please talk. Hey, they will kill me. And you see, they are, as Rollins said, young people with sharp teeth.
Yes.
And there are lots of people,
sharp teeth.
you know, there are lots of people who don't want to be mauled in the public arena. But some of us who are trained in politics, we believe that you forego your privacy and allow yourself to be insulted small for the good of the community.
Thank you very much. On that note, thank you, Mr. Pianim, for sharing your thoughts. I hope we get more of these, even though we had a discussion relating to conversations like these beyond today. My name is Odile Ntiamwa, Head Business Programming, the Multimedia Group, and thanks so much for this innovative conversation that Tessa Capital has been putting together. This is the second, and this particular one was on investing in Ghana, Mr. Pianim's journey and lessons. Thank you for your contributions and everything that you have done. Would like to take a, okay, yeah. So thank you so much, and I'm very hopeful that another dialogue will come up with such insightful conversations that will benefit the whole country. Have a good day.